Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to part two, the Riverbank part two of The Wind in the Willows. We're going to do a little overview or introduction to this part of the story before you listen to it. So who were the main characters that we met in the first read aloud? Think for a moment. See how many you can name. So we met Mole and Water Rat. Let's review the plot or the events in the first read aloud. Mole was cleaning, right? He was doing spring cleaning and getting frustrated, and then he went down to the riverbank and he took a ride with Water Rat. Water Rat. We heard many examples of personification in this story. Can you name any of them? Well, you can see lots in the pictures here. Mole was painting, he's dancing, they're riding in a boat, they're walking on two legs. Remember, personification is when animals or objects are given qualities of people and do things like people do. Mole learns about life on the river from speaking with Rat. What do we call the part of the story where the characters speak to one another? We call that dialogue. It's when they're talking back and forth. How do we know when we are reading dialogue? There are these little things called quotation marks. Everybody say that, quotation marks. Do you know the name for the part of the story that tells what is happening and does not have quotation marks around it? That is called narration. Everybody say narration. Narration and dialogue are two literary tools or two ways that the author tells a story. So narration, the author tells a story without the characters talking. Dialogue is a way we tell the story and show that characters are talking. What was the setting of this story? Through whose eyes do we first discover the riverbank? Well, the setting of the story was the riverbank, and we first see the riverbank through Mole's eyes, Mole's perspective. Perspective is how someone sees or experiences something. In stories, perspective is another literary tool that the author uses to let the reader know from whose experience the story is being described. So, whose eyes are we looking through when we hear this story? Perspective can shift from one character to another as a way of telling more about the story. So we might hear the story from the perspective of Mole and what Mole is experiencing, or we might hear from Water Rat. Today we're going to meet a new animal character, an otter. So here are a couple facts about otters. Adult otters are 25 to 35 inches in length. That's how long they are, not including their tail. And their tail can be 14 to 18 inches long. Otters live in and around the water. Like badgers, otters belong to the weasel family. Otters are playful creatures and they are great swimmers. They are semi-aquatic, which means they spend some time in the water and some time out of the water, just like water rats. They have brownish fur on their backs, cream-colored bellies, long, strong necks, webbed feet, and a long, flattened tail. They live in burrows that they dig into riverbanks or in hollowed-out trees near rivers, streams, or ponds. Otters eat fish, shellfish, birds, insects, and frogs. Otters have a backbone. Their skeleton is inside their body. They're warm-blooded mammals, and their babies are born alive, and their mothers feed them milk from their own bodies. When we were last reading, Rat and Mole were getting ready to picnic on the backwater. Do you remember what backwater is? It's a calm water connected to a river, just very calming water. So let's make a prediction. What kind of adventures might Mole and Rat have on the backwater? What do you think? Find a piece of paper and pencil and go ahead and write down your prediction for what kind of adventure Mole and Rat might have on the backwater. Listen carefully during the read aloud to see if your predictions are correct.